Damn, that's even worse. So now the nigga
Even
sweeping up
worse. No,
hair.
go ahead, Sister
I was
Soccer.
about to
Somebody else can
say
answer
he
that
could have
The
been a
question.
nigga
janitor.
sweeping
Did
up
you
hair. That's the master teacher now. The nigga at the barbershop picking the hair up off the ground. God
Do
damn.
you somebody else want to answer that question for Sister Soccer? Anybody else want to answer it or no?
Yeah, my answer is very clear. You got to put it on Frances Cress Welsing, right? If for no other reason, she has to be the one in the conversation who I deem responsible. I damn near expect Neely Fuller to make mistakes like that. But I don't expect the credential experts to hear the mistakes and be like, "Oh, I'm using this." Yeah, I don't expect that. That's like to me, Neely Fuller ain't no different than Pan African James. Like he's supposed to be on the internet saying wild stuff. He's not a
Question centered
credential expert.
around what makes one pseudo. Like, how are you? I think that was
Yeah, so I guess I'm distinguishing why I would put more blame on the credentialed expert than the person who is layman, right? So
Right.
so yeah, yes, they're both pseudo, but I feel like I expect Neely Fuller to be where he's at. I don't expect Frances Cress Welsing to be like following behind the guy who sweep up at the barbershop. That sounds crazy as shit.
Yeah,
uh,
and I'd have to agree with Logic. Once you start touting credentials, and if you are credentialed and you spreading misinformation, yeah, you're pseudo. Crazy motherfucker just talking some crazy shit is just a crazy motherfucker. That's the way I see it. But to me, to be put in the quote unquote pseudo category, you have to be held to a higher standard in the sense that there has to be a reason why people are listening to you. So I definitely agree with what Logic said, and I definitely would put her as worse than Neely Fuller.
And Sister Soccer, real
okay.
quick,
All right.
just so we can get a baseline of pseudo. Pseudo for me don't mean what it probably means to everybody else. So just so you know what I think what pseudo means, and then Sosa, go ahead. Pseudo is when you sound scientific, but it has no proof, no evidence whatsoever. You're using things as scientific theories and skip all the proof, like no proof of it, but you're saying it as if it's science. And if you can't verify any of the facts of what this person is saying and they're passing it off as science, pseudo. A person just talking crazy like Neely Fuller, that's why a person just saying stuff, but they're not presenting it as science, then I don't know. But that's where I stand. Go ahead, Sosa, I apologize.
And I'll just say that there's pseudo and there's pseudoscientific. So somebody can be pseudo and not pseudoscientific. In order for something to be pseudoscientific, then science has to be applied. So you can rightfully call somebody a pseudo, right? And then you can call somebody else pseudoscientific. You know what I mean? So those are two different.
I'm just saying my definition.
So all right. So let me tell you what I put in perplexity so we can get it. I took sociologist, right? Edward A. Ross, right? In the early 1900s, right? So I know what Edward A. Ross is. Edward A. Ross had a term he coined in the 1900s called race suicide, right? So he's a white sociologist. So what I said was sociologist Edward A. Ross in the early 1900s, race suicide. I said outline and elaborate on his argument and what ideas did he have to solve the issue, right? And I go use scholarly sources. So, it's early 1900s, right? He coined the term race suicide. So he said race suicide, this concept was rooted in eugenicist and nativist concerns that the native or old stock white American population was failing to reproduce at a rate sufficient to replace itself, resulting in a demographic decline or suicide of the race. This process was seen as self-inflicted, not caused by external forces, but by choices and conditions within the race, particularly focusing blame on women for having fewer children. Right. So that's the his argument. So I told the outline. So the outline of Ross' argument, you got demographic decline of the super race. So Ross and like-minded progressives believe that the old stock Americans, particularly Anglo-Saxon Protestants, represented a biologically and culturally superior race. They feared this group was committing race suicide by having fewer children than immigrant groups, e.g., Southern and Eastern Europeans, Asian, Jews, and others, right? And Jews and others who were deemed racially inferior but more fertile, right? So just in the beginning, you can see like his sentiments running somewhat parallel with the concept that she's spewing in Crest Color Confrontation. So this is 2, fertility versus fitness paradox. So said Ross' argument reverses Darwinian natural selection logic. While evolutionary fitness traditionally meant reproductive success, race suicide theorists believe the fit were those of superior stock, irrespective of actual fertility. So they fear that more prolific immigrant races, somebody background, they fear that more prolific immigrant races would eventually outnumber and outcompete the socially and biologically superior native whites, leading to the dilution or replacement of the race. Okay, so number 3, social and economic causes. So the lower birth rates, this is him, the lower birth rates among native whites were attributed to the desire to maintain higher living standards and decency, which meant smaller families to preserve wealth and social status. Meanwhile, immigrant populations accepting lower wages and living standards, enabling them to have larger families. This economic competition discouraged native whites from larger families, which Ross considered a suicidal choice. Then he got moral and cultural concerns. That the term also reflected deep anxieties about degeneration, morality, and the future of civilization. The fears extended beyond numbers to cultural and racial character, with the implication that the decadence of native whites, symbolized by low fertility, signaled decline or collapse. So if I replace that with Frances Cress Welsing, would you know the difference? Like if I flipped it? Because is that not what she's saying, or am I tripping?
You're tripping.
Okay, explain how. Explain how that's different. How's race suicide different?
Because his theory wasn't science either.
No,
You're
I
using
said,
a pseudo.
is it the same?
Pseudo to defend the pseudo.
No, he wasn't
Was
a
it?
pseudo.
Was
At
his
that
theory
time,
backed in science?
you're conflating the
I'm
arguments. I'm
asking you.
saying,
No. That's just a simple question.
no,
Was his theory backed in science? So
he's a
I'm just asking. I don't care
sociologist.
what he was. Was it backed in science? Was it tested? Was it verified? Was any of this? Any of it? Okay. So hold on. I know who Edward Ross is. I know who he is. You asked that. You told me to speak. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you're not answering. You're not answering the question. You got to explain to me.
I said, are you tripping? You're using a pseudo to defend a pseudo.
No, the question
You're using
was
pseudoscience to defend pseudoscience.
Never mind. Go ahead, make a statement. Go ahead. I'm gonna go to the next one. I'm gonna go to his response. Go
and
ahead,
on top of that, that wasn't meant. That wasn't even meant in the way that you're trying to use it. That was politics. That was him and Theodore Roosevelt that was like a birth thing. That wasn't like that's not like how she was using it for white genetic annihilation. That was something that had to do with Theodore Roosevelt. I could get clarity, but no, it's not. I'm not going to accept. If you were to say,
explain to me what Edwin Ross meant, since you're saying it is something different, because he's talking about
because it was a political scare. It was okay. Hold on. Before I change, I'm gonna just make the statement: if you're bringing pseudoscience of a white man before her to defend the pseudoscience that she did decades later, go have at it. If that's your bomb, if that's your Hiroshima, then okay, 2 pseudos now. We'll go look him up, and we'd say the same shit about him.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all argue.
No, this is me. I don't know what they think. This is just me.
Arguments are horrible, and it does not even answer the question that I posed.
You can attack the argument.
The question was, is it similar in vein? If it's not, then explain how different it is. If you think that birth rates, if she was to talk about low birth rates, then I can
Were the
challenge that and
arguments
show that's
similar?
not true.
Yes. Were the arguments
Yeah,
similar? Yes.
yes,
Yes. Were the arguments
it's
similar?
race suicide, analogous to genetic annihilation.
Yes.
That's my only point. Like I don't know, that's all I said.
So
That
you
was
brought
simple.
us in here for that?
No, I brought us in here to have a conversation. That's not it. We're gonna keep having
Dr. Umar
the
Johnson
conversation.
just said the same thing Thursday. So now we could tie Edward Ross all the way to Umar Johnson.
I mean,
Same
I can
shit.
so
Throw
about
them all away. Throw all three of them people away.
y'all lost an argument.
Francis
Anyway,
Cress Welsing,
so I
Edward
asked,
Rogers, and Umar Johnson.
right. So I asked, like I said, I also asked her to outline, elaborate, and highlight his solutions, right? So it says, number one was pro-natalist social policies. So it says, Ross and contemporaries advocate social policies aimed at encouraging greater fertility among Native white population. This included promoting larger families and challenging cultural norms that favor small families, particularly targeting women's reproductive choices. That's key, right? Immigration restriction. A major part of Ross' program was restricting immigration from groups perceived as racially inferior or overly fertile. Right. This was intended to protect the demographic and cultural dominance of old stock Americans and prevent the replacement by other ethnicities. Right. Then you got eugenics and social control. So Ross supported eugenic ideas, advocating for selective reproduction to maintain or improve racial equality. This included measures to control reproduction of those considered socially or biologically unfit and promoting the reproduction of the so-called superior stock. So number 4, you got the moral reforms in general. So the discourse often blame women for birth decline, framing their choices as morally responsible, efforts to reinforce traditional families and roles, and encourage motherhood were key to reversing what they call race suicide, right? So the fact of the matter is, right, I'm talking about he, at this time, outlined the fact that what he considered a superior race was being was doing race suicide, right? And he didn't sit just idly by with that, right? He wrote, right? And his writings went from, because he was a well-respected sociologist at his time, with large influence, whose policies reached all the way to Roosevelt, who quoted as saying like, what he said, race suicide is the greatest threat to civilization. So his concept, his means to combat race suicide, right? Because talking about the reproductive situation like that with the women, like the limitation of these people of color or immigrants that would dissolve or dilute the stock and bring in other groups to help maintain that whiteness. All that shit is soaked in the same type of ideology, same type of concept. And it's a real right. So the whole thing is like trying to understand where that thinking comes from. So that part of what she was speaking about, I don't think that shit's far off. And I'll land right there on my shit.
Anybody? I mean, it's not. I'm not going back and forth with Sosa's 12 people in here, so I don't. I got my feelings on it. I made them plain. I'm not listening to one racist to defend another. I'm not listening to one pseudo to defend another. All this sounds like eugenics and Margaret Sanger. When he used his, it was a political tool for Roosevelt to stunt immigration. It was Ross's race suicide was mainly a political tool. He used fear of declining white birth rates to drive immigration restrictions, anti-birth laws, and push white women to have more kids. It was shaping public policy and behavior through fear. Welsing's genetic annihilation was a psychological explanation for racism. She wasn't trying to pass laws. She argued that white supremacy exists because white people fear their genes will be wiped out by black genetics. So they both used racial fear, no question, but one was a fear to control society, Edward Ross, The other was describing the root of racism. Both of them untested. Both of them pseudo, because there's no science. They were passing these things off as science, but they weren't tested. They weren't proven. They were just their theories. So I'm not going to defend. I'm not going to, in my acceptance, I can accept they're the same. I can accept it's the same rhetoric, but I can also accept that it's the same racism and that it's the same pseudoscience passed off by two scientists. That's the only similarity that I see. And I'm sure if I put in ChatGPT, is where's Margaret Sanger connected in all of this? Now, in order to defend Frances Cress Welsing, somehow defend Edward Ross and Umar Johnson and motherfuckers who say this shit in 2025, we're now using Margaret Sanger and eugenics. See, like the levels of defense is now my concern. All I said about Frances Cress Welsing is that she practiced pseudoscience. She was a pseudo, and she diagnosed an entire race with some shit that did not exist. She's a racist. I revere her for one thing, her resistance. The more y'all talk about her, the less I even value her resistance. Because now, because of Unk's post, I'm hearing she heard voices that sent her to Neely Fuller. And I'm thinking Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Neely Fuller. I gave Neely Fuller too much credit. I got to look at Dr. Leonard Jeffries because Neely Fuller was an unlicensed barber with no formal education. This is where she got this shit from, an autodidact. And throughout the entire conscious community is a bunch of autodidacts spouting theories. Now, for some reason, all of them is pseudo. Throw them away. But anything pre-70s is a master teacher, a saber, a baba, or some shit like an elder. My elder is my parents and my grandparents, my aunts, uncles. That's where I land. The only reason I'm talking is because no one else is. I didn't even think we was talking about this today. You just put a post in and you came in with your information, which is good information, but you just described a white sociologist pseudo that preceded her.
Yeah, so apparently you thought that the reason I used him because his work was valid.
Why would you use unvalid work, Sosa?
You know what I'm saying? Apparently you think that that's what I was doing.
No. I got the similarities after you explained it. I understand that. That was just my point. You were just showing the similarities. I get that. I have no issue with that at all.
Right.
Yeah, none. I have no issue with that.
The other thing you kind of take away from the point of what I was trying to establish, like her looking into her using her psychiatric worldview to try to understand what's the driver for racism, right? So yes, it's going to be different than Ross in the way that it's used for social policy, but it's not. But it's also because he believed that. It wasn't just to scare people. He looked around. He understood what was happening. He you know what I'm saying? He understood like, yo, he understood what we know now. That in time, the white race is dwindling. That white race is becoming small and small and small and small. That SCLA 245 gene is getting small. Few people is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That gene variant. So that's it.
Okay.
But
okay.
that was my point. That was my point for bringing that out, and the fact that thinking reached all the way to the White House. You feel me? So just to understand, like her looking at that and her understanding all this shit's going on, you wouldn't be crazy to make that type of psychological assessment of what's happening. If a well-respected sociologist is writing about it. You know what I'm saying? And he, like I said, at that time, he was considered an intellectual. See, like we can play money more on the quarterback and look back now in 2025. Oh yeah, he was pseudo. They didn't think that back then. You know what I'm saying?
There were people that thought both of them was wrong during the time.
Yeah, you're always gonna find, but he was well respected. Like people thought, you gonna find that with even people that are right. I'm saying, so that's always there. But he was well respected, considered an intellectual.
Hmm.
You know what I
Anybody
mean?
got
So,
anything, bro? Yeah, everybody not saying that. Anybody got anything? I don't. I'd be making something up at this point. I said
No,
I made my
I think
stance.
the question is, was the sister question answered, and do she have a follow up?
Safa, you
Yeah.
sincere?
And also, when you guys get a chance, there's a question in the chat. That
What
you
is
guys
it?
might want to address.
I can't say. I'm
Indigenous black man wants to know.
He
Because
don't
I
like
haven't
it.
studied the
We not
Bible.
doing him. We not doing him.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
okay,
don't
cool.
like it at all.
Cedric
Because
is
I
not
don't know
crazy in
who
your
the fuck
circle, bro.
Yeah, how do I
who
turn this
defended Margaret
notification off,
Sanger
bro? That shit
on
getting on
here.
my nerves, bro.
You said Margaret Sanger, so that shit will set him off. So he could be mad about. I ain't see what he put out there.
No, the only reason I
Well,
brought up Sanger, I didn't. He said I brought it up because of him. I looked back and I saw it. I just
No,
told
shit.
him I am. But Margaret, the reason I brought up Margaret Sanger is when we start talking about, especially during that time with the restricting of births and stuff. That's Planned Parenthood. That's all Nazi stuff. That's straight out of the Nazi handbook. And her main mission was. A lot of people don't
Birth
realize
control for
Sanger was
women.
trying
Birth
to get
control for women.
she was trying to get contraception. That was the whole
She
thing
had
for
a
her.
mother. Yeah,
And she
she
used
watched
that same language, that racial survival. We got to make sure that people don't have more babies than they can support. And it's all eugenics rhetoric. He was doing it to push white birth rates, but they were doing it's all using really. I don't know. I don't know.
He was using to push white birth rates and the idea that if we don't, we're going to be out of here.
But do you respect Franz Boas?
Race suicide.
You respect Franz Boas?
Not familiar.
Okay. Franz Boas and his students during that time.
Who is
Hold
he?
on real quick. I'm gonna just say what he did first.
No, I need to know, like, what does he do? Like, that's important. Like, what does he do? Like, like what field? Like, you can't just start off. Like, if I don't know who he is, like, well, Franz Boas, like, what is he, a pirate? Like, I don't.
No, well, the funny thing is I know he's in anthropology, but he got some kind of crazy name like Darwin almost with he's like the Darwin of anthropology. Like literally, I think he might be the whatever. He's the Darwin of anthropology. I don't want to look it up. I can. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Give me a half.
Just go ahead. Go ahead then.
Okay.
Finish. I'll figure it out.
So he argued that supposed racial decline claims were not biological facts and attacked eugenic race determinism in his works like The Mind of the Primitive Man. Boas's school is widely credited with undermining eugenics in U.S. academia. Historians show that race suicide was a political slogan, not a tested theory. It just spread through speeches by Theodore Roosevelt and culture war rhetoric rather than evidence. Modern synthesis of that period described the term as eugenic propaganda, which contemporaries in the Boasian camp opposed on scientific grounds. So even during Ross's era, there were respected academics, including the father of anthropology, who said the biological race suicide panic wasn't science, it was ideology dressed up as science. So if we're using Edward Ross, who used race suicide, and it sounds similar, which I agree, but you would also have to echo the same sentiment that if her rhetoric is similar to his rhetoric, then her using ideology and pushing it as science is also the same thing as he did. Throw them both away. So yes, she heard it. Yes, it was said before her, but then she committed the same mistake he did, using ideology, backing it with your name as a sociologist and presenting it as science. She did the same thing. Except this time, she added an uneducated, illiterate barber security guard that she heard a voice to go speak to somehow validate it, and then also Dr. Leonard Jeffries.
I don't really. I ain't gonna say too much about Neely Fuller because I don't really know much. So I'm not gonna sit there and pretend like I do. Seen like a couple of
No, that's
videos,
cool.
but I don't know. I don't know really. I just know he talks about a lot of white supremacy. And at the time I came across it, I was really into that. So
Yeah, he was
I
illiterate.
don't know anything. I don't know anything about him really, truly, or what he spoke about. Now, like I said, illiterate doesn't mean, like I said, that don't mean nothing. I rather want to know what he said that was incorrect. Like talk about that is valuable, but tell you what his education was don't mean nothing. Like I said, Jay-Z dropped out of high school. Like, what does that mean?
Are you saying Jay-Z?
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't know that's what you were saying
yeah.
before.
He's a billionaire, so he can't tell you about finance. He figured the shit out, right?
Yeah. You
So
figured out through
financially,
his motherfucking mistakes. Yeah,
yeah,
there's only
yeah.
he's a billionaire.
To lived and learn experiences. Yes, I get it.
Yeah, but when you go to teach, right? You lived and learned experience. But when you go to teach and you start present, if Jay-Z was to present his shit as a science, I'd say the same thing about him.
Once
Present
again,
this
think
shit as the Jay-Z way, not as the
I
financial
don't.
scientific way.
What I'm saying, I don't know if Neely Fuller produce or present his shit as science. I don't know. Y'all got to
Okay.
educate me on that. I don't know nothing about that. What did he promote as science or scientific?
Go ahead. Somebody y'all can jump in there.
How
But
is he
Sister
yeah,
Sade,
validated?
you had a
I'm
bunch
not
of
too
questions.
sure.
You can
I'm not
answer
too
the
sure
others.
how to answer that. But I feel like I want to introduce this, right?
Does anybody? Go
And
ahead,
sorry
Logic. Go
to
ahead.
just skip
No,
over
I
your
know
question.
the answer, but I
No,
thought Logic was about to answer.
let
I
Logic,
thought you
let
was about
Logic
to.
finish it. Let Logic get his little.
Yeah, because I don't know if he was being scientific or not. I feel like since his conversation involves genetic, it could very easily be solved in science. But anyway, so my point
What did he say?
is,
What did he say in terms of genetics? I'm not familiar.
Yeah,
What did he say?
I never
well,
really heard him say nothing about genetics in particular. It was more like
well,
social
so
regular shit.
what I'm yeah,
Political
and I
as
could be
far as I
wrong.
know.
Yeah, that's why I'm not trying to get too deep into it, because I could be wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, she's basically his parent. So she didn't like reinvent what he
No,
said. She just kind of repeated what he said. So I'm assuming that they both saying the same thing. But I could be wrong. But that's
no.
again, I
Fuller,
don't really know.
in the video, she said she heard Fuller to the like you got to see racism as a system. There's things that from her, she said, psychiatrists. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ask why. We have to understand why this is happening, right? Because people that feel psychiatry, psychology, they want to know the drivers. What's causing this, right? So she said that's when she started to think about and try to put forth ideas of what's driving this type of supremacy, what's driving this type of, hatred, and what are the factors pushing it. So that's what she said. She's not necessarily parroting Neely Fuller. Like,
No, but
Yeah,
it's close.
she might not have
No,
got her
but
genetic
it's
bag from
close.
Yeah,
about the white
No,
supremacy.
yeah,
but it's close. He didn't do biology or genetics. That's true. This was just his thoughts. So he
social,
didn't talk
political,
about
as far as I know.
he didn't talk about he said he was just using logic and observation, no research,
Yeah.
no data. His code was meant as a guidebook for black survival under racism. He never had studies, peer review, or evidence. It was philosophy. He didn't talk
Yeah, just
about
political.
melanin or genetic annihilation. Their relationship is he described the system like Sosa said, but she just was trying to figure out why that is, and that's when she made up through her thinking, her thoughts, that it was some kind of genetic annihilation because of a recessive gene. It was system is white people's fear of genetic annihilation because of recessive traits. So he described the system. She tried to explain why, and she just did it really pseudo and racist. But the issue
yeah.
is that this nigga was illiterate, uneducated, offering up shit, and wasn't
Literate,
passionate as he was illiterate.
illiterate is somebody that can't read.
He was illiterate. That's the
He couldn't
description.
read.
We can get more. Maybe he was illiterate
Couldn't
at one
read.
time. I know. I'll say this. He was illiterate at one time. I don't know if he couldn't have been illiterate his whole life. I agree. but he was illiterate at one time, and it made a point to state that he had no basic or formal education. He was an autodidact,
Yeah,
self-taught. So this self-taught person that wasn't passing off his thoughts and his observations and his logic as science, the scientist, in a very irresponsible way, took this person's observations and logic and turned it into white person's fear of genetic annihilation. She turned his shit into science.
Can we find out if he can read? If Neely Fuller can read and write?
We could get stuck on that, but yeah, I'll find out, bro.
You don't call somebody illiterate. If it was illiterate.
I didn't call it that.
That's true.
ChatGPT did.
I think R. Kelly was illiterate. Like,
you just keep bringing in sick niggas to explain other sick niggas.
Man, okay, my point is my point, man. I ain't got time for all this.
Yeah, you bring up R. Kelly. Your examples be wild as hell. R. Kelly, what you got?
Well, what I was going to introduce was, I thought about this in another way, right? So even if I feel I'm hearing Sosa's argument, and what I'm hearing him say is like, there were other people, like what she's saying it's not outside the box of the time period, because you can see other people having similar discussions and struggling with a similar type of things.
Yeah, white people.
I'm understanding that part of it. So what I'm saying is, even though you can say that about them, right? Where do I put somebody like a Frederick Douglass, who went through slavery directly and came out on a totally different end? Like, I would have to, like, to me, his ability to see
we don't compare
through the
to Francis.
Don't compare.
No,
but they're both activists.
No, we don't do that. Frederick Douglass, like, there's tears. We don't compare. I wouldn't even have a conversation about that. Like Frederick Douglass, but no, that's not.
We was just having a conversation yesterday and the day before
Somebody brought up Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. But he can't add Frederick Douglass into the conversation.
No, that's because y'all try to break up the fact. I think we started talking about race at different points, but we were never comparing. Like, that's not even. I wouldn't even compare Malcolm to MLK. Like, this ain't even close.
You need better argument partners then, because I know I said the same thing, and y'all told me we're just doing this. I feel the same way as you. There's different tiers. There's definitely different tiers.
Like,
I agree.
I don't compare Malcolm to MLK.
Let me explain his literacy.
What did Malcolm do? Like, truth. Like, over there, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't really do anything. He was just inspirational, and his voice, you know what I mean? Resistance was his shining star. We love him because of his fearlessness and his, his resistance against, that power structure at that time. That's why we love Malcolm. But he's not, in no way. We don't.
You just said Malcolm X didn't do anything.
But I elaborated so we don't just end there. I'm talking about in terms of, when I say do anything, I'm talking about in terms of policy, in terms of changing things in terms of policy. That wasn't his fight. He didn't even engage in that type of fight. So that's why I don't compare MLK to Malcolm.
Okay.
Someone asked a question about Neely being illiterate.
Yeah, he was.
Did he write a book?
No. Well, I'm about to go into this now. No, she wrote the book. She compiled that for him. But Fuller said he grew up illiterate and did not go beyond minimal schooling. He described how systemic oppression in Black America blocked his access to literacy, making learning impossible for him and many others. He self-taught. Despite not learning to read or write in his youth, he taught himself enough to write and articulate his ideas, his theories, and his code. So he has no formal education, and he grew up literate with minimal schooling. So that's the explanation of his illiteracy. I think that's.
But you said he did learn.
Huh?
But you said he did learn, right?
Wait, he taught himself. I don't count. Autodidact is a strange area for me. He taught himself how to read and write enough to articulate his ideas. So I don't even. I mean, you can wrestle with that. I don't. He
Yeah,
taught himself
erudite
how to
can be
read and
problematic,
write.
but it's not a slur. Like
No, I'm
y'all
not
see,
saying
kind of
it's a slur. No.
uh,
I
I
didn't
still
say it
want the
was a
people to
slur.
get
I said you could
to be
wrestle
of the
with it.
opinion. Mm.
No, you could wrestle with it. It's just I find myself with a lot of these thought leaders in the conscious community. I keep hearing self-taught. So while self-taught isn't a slur, but it seems like a lot of these people are self-taught. Like even now in these Egyptian conversations, y'all complain that y'all are listening to self-taught people in Metal Netter. Y'all talking about self-taught geneticists, self-taught
No,
anthropologists, archaeologists.
that's
The community is
no,
rife with
no. For
self-taught
clarity.
people.
No, for clarity, that's only if somebody is trying to change academia. Like you could just read like this, or if you're just parroting what the experts say, fine. But you don't. What we say is that you don't have the expertise to think that you can challenge genetics. Being an
Uh,
autodidact, you said you gotta get
So
in the ring. You gotta be able to get in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
so we're agreeing that the term pseudo applies to persons who are educated and expecting to know better. Is that what the term pseudo is being applied to, or that's
well,
how we apply it? And
right.
if so, Dr. Umar Johnson versus Polite. Umar is the pseudo because he's educated and should know better, and Polite is not pseudo.
No, I said Neely Fuller and Francis Cress Wilson were pseudo. You asked me which one would I have more of a problem with? I guess to a degree, it would be the one with the education. So if you're talking about Dr.
Oh,
Umar Polite, and here's an interesting point, Sister
yeah,
Safa.
this is
We
a brand new it's a brand new comparison for you guys. Dr. Umar versus
no.
Polite.
I'm telling you,
Who's
it's
pseudo?
not. No, it's not. If you watch, I don't know what show you saw, but on another show, Hits, shout out to Hits, CEO of Tribe Media, he was saying, why do we keep talking about the past? So then, because he was saying that this stuff has no, you can put in a comment if I'm quoting you incorrectly, Hits, but he was saying, well, that was in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Well, he said that was in the 70s. I said, well, she released the ISIS papers, her collection of writings in 91. So then he said, well, we're in 2025. What's the whatever? So we did like a thought map of her to today.
didn't
And
expect to see that coming through the door.
the first, you
So
go
you
on,
expect
mute,
that.
Logic, go on mute.
Oh,
I don't know if you about to say something private. Um, uh, the first name that came up on that list, Sister Safa, was Dr. Umar Johnson. Called him the spiritual cousin to Francis Cress Wilson because all he talks about is white genetic annihilation. So it shows that her saying that then and no one taking a hard stance, right? This is ChatGPT. This is not us. But we see that he mentions white genetic annihilation, the penis envy, all of that kind. He says all of that same rhetoric. And this is a grifter who's been stealing money from this community in this time using basically her rhetoric, walking around doing lectures as if he's a geneticist and a biologist, just talking about snow bunnies and all kind of racial stuff, a racist. So it shows that her effects actually have affected people here, because I'm sure that there are people that are watching this and listening to this right now that have donated to Dr. Umar Johnson and believe that we should follow the Prince of Pan-Africanism. You want to know who the third person on that list was, Sister Safa? Brother
What is the
Polite.
list called? What is the list called? Because
We put a connection. We put a. It was the connect. I'll go pull it up. I'm gonna put
did
it
you
in the.
ask?
I'll put it in the
Like,
Discord.
so it's basically taking like if somebody is linked to a quote from Francis Cress. That's how it's doing it. But did you
No,
ask like
I don't know. I don't know how it did it.
what
ChatGPT.
like what?
I'm about,
Because
I'm about
you
to
can
do it.
ask. You can ask like what methodology are you using to determine blah 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 blah,
Do
and
we
they lay
see
out.
any? I think I asked. Do we see any connections or remnants of her works in any uh, people today? And it put out Dr. Umar Johnson, Brother Polite. It was a guy, Booker T. Coleman, and Tariq Nasheed. That's what ChatGPT connected their rhetoric and what they're doing to her. That's ChatGPT. I didn't say me. I'm just saying ChatGPT, but I put it in the chat what I asked for.
You know,
But go ahead, Sister Sophia. I don't
I'm
know
not.
if that answered your question.
I ain't too keen on. I guess Umar has mentioned it. I ain't too keen on that beat. I mean, I'm sure you may have said it. I'm not too
No, he
keen on
does
that.
the penis envy. I've heard him speak before. He does
This
the
thing
penis
is.
envy. He does their fear of they're not that actually that's the
This
first
thing
person
is.
I heard that from. The genetic
This thing
annihilation. First person I ever heard that from. Him.
Or you watch. But anyway, the first, I know him from, the ADHD, channeling ADHD, and Redland for Black Boys. That's more of his spiel. I get the Tyreek Nasheed Hidden Colors. So yeah, they're gonna like it. He probably did say some shit like that. But so yeah, I get it.
But go ahead, Sister Safa, or someone else. This ain't my show.
They might be busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check this out, Sosa. Umar Johnson speaks on everything, right? So it's like it's understandable that you never heard it, but
Yeah, he
it's
probably said it.
yeah,
that's what I'm
like
saying. He
he
probably said it.
speaks on every like that shit. He parrots all of those people. You dig what I'm saying? He parrots from he go from Frederick
Yeah,
Douglass all the
because his
way
cousin.
to
His cousin.
Hiawatha Coleman, whatever. He anything that he can use in his rhetoric, he does it. Yeah, I mean, he don't leave nothing out. So that motherfucker, I mean,
Yeah. I'm saying he probably. I can see him probably saying it. You know what I'm saying? I just say I'm not. That ain't his like his spiel though. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah, here's the thing.
The
It says background.
cousin of Marcus Garvey. You know what I'm saying? That, yeah.
It says school psychologist, Pan-Africanist. The similarities frames racism as global psychological warfare. He does focus on Black children and education, like her, to an extent. I mean, she wasn't a pediatrician. She worked
She
in
actually
child
did it.
psychiatry.
She actually did it.
He
I
did
think she
too,
might.
didn't he? He was a teacher.
No. I think they might like.
Well, I mean, I don't know what's
gotta get
true.
into that.
Don't get me the line. But then it also says
I think she
discusses
may have even
melanin.
dabbled. I think she may have even dabbled as a pediatrician for like a short stint when she was at Howard too. I gotta look
Okay.
to make sure.
But it says he discusses melanin and genetic survival anxiety, and he mixes for professional training with conspiratorial tone. The difference is he lacks peer-reviewed work or institutional rigor. So I'm assuming she must have some work that is peer-reviewed. All of Umar's shit is just conspiratorial tone. Good, Sister Safa. I thought you had more questions. I think everybody is tied up at the moment.
I'm here. I'm
Okay,
I'm here.
good.
I'm just following along with what y'all talking about.
Yeah, I kind of walked in like at the tail end, so I missed a lot of detail. I ain't want to just speak off topic.
Yeah, no,
don't
he
jump off. Don't
Sosa
jump
brought
off
up
top rope.
Sosa brought up a sociologist.
Damn, Sosa.
Yeah,
I know. I got you.
Just you got to catch it. It was oil. It was Diddy Slick. Just baby oil Slick. Like what he did, bro.
It's all facts.
No, it was slick. It was slick as oil. It was slick as oil. No, it's all pseudo. It ain't all fact. None of this is scientific.
Like, yeah,
We're not
everything is.
having a
Right, hey, I got
scientific
another example for you
They're
guys.
calling something pseudo from 2025. Like, yeah,
But we're not having a scientific conversation with
but
scientists.
no,
They weren't
no, but
putting forth science.
No, the conversation about just the context of what's happening at that time. See, the only way you can really understand what people are going through, what's pushing them, is to immerse yourself in the time. You can never fully get it, but you gotta, you know what I mean? You back
No.
to get
I got the connection. Don't get me wrong. I got the connection. That wasn't my thing. Go ahead, Sister Safa.
All right, so we're getting back to pseudo, judging the pseudos, what is pseudo and what's not. So what would you say about Jabari versus the young Pharaoh? Which one is pseudo? Which one is just crazy?
They both fit under both of them shits.
What you doing, Sister Safa?
Now
I'm curious. Are you
Trying to make us have a pseudo?
Yeah. We got enough. We're fighting on about 7 fronts. You trying to get us to fight on about 15 fronts? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how you guys are judging
I'm just
who's
asking.
pseudo and who's not.
No, okay.
After
But
after
remember,
we
You
answer
still
that
didn't
question, I
answer.
got a
You
really
still
good
didn't answer
question for
my
you,
first
sis.
question between Dr. Umar versus Polite.
I said they're both pseudo. I did answer. They're both pseudo.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I said they're both
They're
pseudo
both.
because because even though Polite wasn't a clinical scientist or anything like that, he did present his thoughts as science, and then on top of that, he
You don't
was
have to
a
be science based. I keep saying
no.
that.
But he was
He's
also a
pseudo.
big right. Listen, this is my pseudo. You listen. I was in the
You
Discord
can't just
with y'all,
create
bro.
new definitions.
I can. No, I most certainly can because here's why. I didn't say pseudo
Nah,
science.
that's pseudo.
Let me say what I'm saying. I've been in the Discord and heard y'all argue about telling each other not to call the pseudo killers telling each other, hey man, stop saying that. That ain't what that mean. And literally they'll say, well, it's pseudo to me. So how can y'all didn't license the word? Y'all don't own it. Pseudo killers is a word before it existed.
Let's just use a
So,
definition. There's a definition
no,
we can
you
use.
use the definition. Why are you policing my language?
All right, go ahead and make up shit.
I'm gonna use it freely and float in and
Go
out
ahead,
and
go
float
ahead,
up.
bro.
I'm gonna do
Go
all
ahead and make up shit, bro. Go ahead and make up shit, bro. Go ahead.
right. But
Got it
no,
right.
Polite. My pseudo
Brass Crest Wilson. Go
reasoning
ahead and make
for
up
Polite.
shit.
Brass Crest. Yeah, I hate talking to this dude, bro. But I am not a
Oh
scientist.
shit!
That was wild. But
That was good. That was good.
his pseudo though, for me, is his supporter, Dr. Sabian. He was probably the loudest in the conscious community as far as support of Dr. Sabian.
What about Dr. York?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I just saw the video that y'all put in the chat about him saying Dr. Sabi was his spiritual father and all this other stuff. I saw the stuff with Dr. York. I just don't like talking about Dr. York.
On a pandemic linked to the 5G.
Yeah, that. Yeah, that. When he was talking about, and the thing is, Dr. Sabi, see that doctor thing again? That's somebody presenting medicine or his versions of medicine as science. So that's the level, that's the definition of pseudo to me. But that's that. Well, what's the other question? You said Jabari. Can somebody else answer this? Because y'all just trying to put me out front and get killed.
I'll answer it because I want to ask her a question after
No,
I answer
the question first.
I'll answer the question first. So, of course, I believe they're both pseudo. But so for me, both Jabari and Polite. So I'm saying,
for me, Jabari and Polite. It was somebody else. Jabari and what was the question?
Jabari and Polite, and
Young
then
same nigga, bro.
Young
They're the
Pharaoh.
same nigga, bro. Like it don't matter who you throw.
I know, right?
Umar Polite, Umar Polite, Jabari Young Pharaoh.
Oh, Jabari Young Pharaoh. So yeah, I say they're both Pharaoh, and say it is right that the labels are interchangeable because to me the person who's still more responsible is the person who goes to school. Like that's the person who I feel has the tools to at least throw it up against the right wall. Like if you just got something that you want to throw up against the wall, throw it up against the scientific wall so you can get some scientific pushback. Don't bring it to us first and label it the truth. Like at that point now, because you wouldn't do that as an expert to another expert. You know what I'm saying? But you would do that to us. Like, so to me, that's always going to be more problematic.
You know what?
A person with credentials in the field doing it, I got a huge problem.
Yeah, not only that,
but I need clarity. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, it's like we got to stop pretending. Like I get it, they were up against certain things during their time. However, they had contemporaries that weren't on the shit that they was on. So like, why do we have to give them that type of grace? And that's just
right.
It's confusing to me.
And we've gone through that
Jabari
quite a few times.
Like Jabari is definitely a pseudo, but
that wasn't
directed
at you. So I'm talking about overall.
Now, are you saying
I need an
that
answer
though because of his religious?
No. Before I need to qualify my answer on Jabari, I need to ask an Egyptian question to the brothers on the panel. So that way I would know something. Does he believe Christianity was completely stolen from ancient Egypt?
Yes.
Pseudo.
Yes,
Does he?
the archetype,
Okay.
archetype. Yeah.
And does he believe that Egypt was 100% black?
I don't really follow
in a
Jabari.
sense.
I couldn't
know
tell you.
100%.
I don't think he believed it was
Primarily,
100% black, and
yeah,
But he
I
believes.
don't think he ever made the argument that Christianity was 100% stolen from Egypt. Like Sosa said, he argued archetypes,
Yeah.
naming
Okay.
the core concepts. Right? They could be developed elsewhere, but he believes that the core concepts of the Trinity and the virgin birth and certain aspects come completely out of ancient Egypt as archetypes.
That makes sense.
Well, I don't know. Then I don't know enough about him. I know some red flags though. I know a
Jabari,
person
hit the
that
Well, he
link.
got all
names
the red flags.
Yeah. I know. He brings up John Henry Clark quite a bit. And he brings up Dr. Ben quite a bit. And I know
Y'all
them.
just
Both of
killed
them.
John Henry
Both
Clark
of them is pseudo.
yesterday. I'm saying y'all
Both
just
of them.
killed
But I'm
John
just
Henry
saying
Clark
they're
this
both
week.
pseudo. No. Those are
Y'all
both.
just
Both of them. I'm
yeah.
just saying. Hold on. If his two master teachers are pseudo, I don't know how two pseudos can make
You call John Clark
not a pseudo. So I won't call him a pseudo because I don't know his.
Yeah, I don't
personal
call
work.
John Henry Clark a
Just because you
pseudo.
racist,
I do.
Yeah, like you can be racist, not be pseudo, right?
No, yeah. He was racist and pseudo.
I'm saying it's less than 7 days ago, y'all walked into a house where John Henry Clark would sleep comfortably amongst black folk, and y'all packed this shit up. And
Shit
y'all
can happen
decided
quick,
y'all
Sosa.
Hey,
You know
it
what you
happens
gonna do?
fast.
Shit can happen quick.
Hey, it happens fast around here,
kick
bro.
this man out.
Hey, if
This
Chef
man-
writes the executive order, we just get to work.
Y'all
John
threw
Henry Clark is a
bitches out the
racist and a pseudo.
He's sleeping in Thurgood Marshall apartment, yo. We gotta
A
get
nigga
the
could
right
be
man in
solid.
there.
A nigga could be solid today, and tomorrow he a rat. You feel?
He's squatting in Thurgood Marshall house as far as I'm concerned.
Thurgood Marshall don't live in that neighborhood. Logic. He don't live in that.
Nah, Thurgood don't nowhere near them.
He don't live in that.
Yeah, don't even put him. We can't even bring that up. Y'all bring up Thurgood, I'll leave the server.
If y'all trying to tell me that John Henry Clark was intelligent, but yet he was an open supporter of melanin theory and wrote the foreword in Iceman Inheritance, he's a racist and a pseudo.
That Iceman Inheritance is nasty work. I don't know how
that don't help him out at all. I ain't gonna hold
listen. Is it John Henry Clark?
That's one of the most disgusting books ever written, yo. Shit crazy.
Is it John Henry Clark with Malcolm, young Malcolm?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
What that mean? What that mean?
Was.
I'm saying that man was the one.
I mean, Malcolm was wild as hell
man
at first. I mean, shit. What are we?
Yeah, that man, Clark made it all the way to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Amongst some of the least in Africa. Like, I ain't throwing him out. I took him in. He moved in with me.
For those in the chat that are saying that I'm crazy on John Henry Clark, I just want you to look up the book Iceman Inheritance and tell me, did you
Michael
even
Bradley.
know that he wrote the foreword to that book?
I never read that book.
That book describes white people's justification for their savagery because they were born and originated from a cold place.
Yeah, that's just shaking the joke.
Yeah, look, you're gonna defend it. Please don't defend that, Sosa.
I don't have no. Y'all think defended it. I can explain it. I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying that shake ain't the joke. Two cradle theory. I think shake ain't the joke. Two cradle theory precedes that, if I'm not mistaken. I think shake ain't the joke was the first to put forth that type of
If these people's legacies were so strong, a political scientist, a barber, and a DJ wouldn't be able to hit this hard on these people's legacies, bro. The legacies, what did you say the other day? Said this house of cards built on sand,
built on the beach, boy. It's like all I want to know is like, I get it. You know, these people
Henry
you can
Clark
do
was schooled and educated. I don't think he had a PhD, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep,
right?
and he wasn't smart
Right?
enough to not write the foreword to
Um,
Iceman
it is what
Inheritance.
it is. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Francois
he was a
Wells was
PhD
schooled.
that said, you know what? Let me write a foreword for a racist, uneducated white man who
You
claimed
got
he
it.
had the Nobel Peace Prize.
You got it. We already made that statement. So who else? Umar educated, still a nut.
John Henry Clark, you cool guy, you got some weird friends. I got you.
See?
but I'm saying
And
it's like
some of the
why
other people,
I
some of the
understand
other
it's
people
like,
that got it wrong
we ain't
in
throwing
terms
them
of
out. We
scholarship,
judging their work, bro.
and
We judging their
Brand
work.
Sertima was educated.
I mean, you did all you doing. I could write down these people for a list and look at their legacy, but we were
No, we
talking about
don't.
Francis Cress Wilson, but y'all brought up all these other people. I don't even know who Young Pharaoh really is. But Jabari, like I said, if John Henry Clark and Dr. Bennett, his master teachers, but I don't know his personal work.
Nobody know who
I don't know
Neely
his
Fuller
personal work.
is. You didn't listen to Neely Fuller. You don't know.
Yeah, I didn't learn about Neely Fuller until I read Francis Cress Wilson. So
It sounds like we should have.
He had like a little YouTube show. I know his name, Tariq Nasheed. You were early Tariq Nasheed. Everybody used to lean like early in the conscious community. A lot of people leaned on Neely Fuller. In terms of his
Shesmu said
white,
Neely Fuller is a non-educated nut.
in terms of his white supremacy rhetoric. That was like that. He was known for that shit. White supremacy type
Yo,
shit. You know?
Sister Safa, you still in here?
And I'll never forgive you for bringing Sister Safa in here to hear all this
you
bad
can't just judge their work, bro. Like
I'm
they
not
work,
bring her in there.
their work didn't stand the test of time,
She
and we
came
gotta,
in here.
She just
be
showed
critical
up.
of
She
bring
it.
just
her.
showed up in here after months, huh? After months of being in the
Yeah.
Discord, she joined the voice chat.
No, I've been,
Just
She's always been
guys
around.
out. Yeah, I've been here. I've been around.
oh, okay. All right. Well, join the voice
Yeah,
chat.
so I want to.
We need
She's
somebody
been here
to
before.
balance us out
She's
from
been
time
here
to
before.
time.
She's been to voice chat before.
Okay,
I
perfect.
want to ask you a question. Sister Safa. So I know that the pseudo killers, they normally have like a saying of the people back then, they did what they had to do, and it's the people now who are ones that are really messing it up, right? So like I run into the possibility of the psychologist person able to put something together, right, that you should be susceptible to, right? So I'll kind of become to a part where, do you blame the people who fall victim to what the psychologist or psychiatrist said, or do you blame the psychiatrist for saying it in the first place? So that's my question,
Well,
right? So, yeah, okay. I don't know if I want to make sure that you understood exactly what I was saying. Go ahead.
well, some of you guys may know my history. I'm a registered nurse and also a certified psychiatric nurse. So I would have to say that these days, with all the technology and everything that we have, you know, I think I would have to blame the person if they're just believing something crazy. Because we teach our patients and stuff that you should be questioning your doctor. You should be questioning whatever you're hearing. So if you're going to a psychologist, first of all, or a psychiatrist, that means that you have a little bit of knowledge of what you should be benefiting from those sessions, right? So if they're telling you something crazy, I think we all have the means to look it up and see what they're talking about, if it's valid or makes sense or not.
No, I
And
got you. Maybe let me try to phrase it this way, right? And this is going a little bit off of assumption, right? I feel as though that there's something there, and I don't necessarily understand the science of it. But being working in the psych field, is there a way or a method that psychiatrists use when they are giving a message that is deemed more effective than other ways? Like they've actually honed in on a way of delivering a message to make it the most effective at sticking with you. Like, wouldn't you say a psychiatrist would have the ability to do that?
Well, yes, you're supposed to be trained, first of all, being able to communicate effectively, for one. So you have to be able to reach your patient, get the language where they can understand it. But you also have to be trained yourself and know, you know what you're talking about. So if you're not trained or you're not, let me just say this, maybe you're not used to dealing with a person who has a certain type of condition or whatever, you need to look it up and stuff or ask your superiors or something like that before you just go off and be giving them some information that you're not too versed on yourself. So that's how I feel
Sister,
about that.
Sister
Okay,
Safra,
but can
I
I can
agree
I
with
can
that.
I make a can I follow up the statement real quick? Just I'm gonna be short. I
Yeah.
might be on the extreme side of this because I believe social engineering is a real thing, and I do believe that you know, and it would come from an area like psychology or psychiatry of you know where you would see people having a more effective way of communicating, and typically it's based on it's all based on rapport, but at the same time they understand how to utilize that rapport in a way that makes what they're saying stick. You know what I'm saying? Like even I know how to do that as a salesperson. I know how to speak to your intentions, and I'm just a salesperson. So I would only imagine that a psychiatrist has that ability times 10. But
Yeah,
go ahead,
they
Brad.
do have that ability, but when you're talking about a regular salesperson versus a psychiatrist, that's a little bit different. So let's just say if you're talking about a salesperson, you're you're going off the fact that the person that you're talking to has all their sense, right? And they don't have anything preventing them from understanding or receiving what you're talking about. If you're a psychiatrist, a lot of times whoever you're talking to, they may have a block if they don't, say for example, if they haven't taken their medication. So there's different things when you're talking about on the level of psychiatry. You know, you could be the most, you could be the perfect communicator, right? You could be the perfect
Hmm.
person at diagnosing and all that stuff. But if your person sitting on the other side of you is not taking their medication, there's still going to be something blocking the communication,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Okay. So based on what we talked about just now, are you saying a healthy person would almost be even more susceptible than the unhealthy person?
Oh, I don't know how to answer that because if you're relating it to, are you relating it to this conscious community and people telling people
No.
all sorts of
I'm
crazy
I'm
stuff
I'm
in this
relating it
setting?
to the ability of a psychiatrist to speak in a way of an untrained, like he has an ability to deliver what he's saying uh, much better than an untrained person, much better than a trained public speaker, like literally deeper than that.
I don't know if they would be necessarily better than a trained speaker. Uh, if you're just talking about the communication aspect of it, because you can find a person off the street, like a polite, for example. He could probably read some psychology books and, you know, memorize that stuff, and he can get up there and talk to anybody, right? And it can make it seem like he knows what he's saying, and he might be able to trick some people into being his quote unquote patients or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
if anybody can talk a good game, um, it's more about the results and stuff like that. So I wouldn't necessarily say that a psychiatrist or a psychologist would be necessarily better at communicating than a person who that's their gig or that's their, you know, that's their bag.
I got you, but
Yeah,
could you at least admit they've been trained to do it, even if they may not do it as well, but they've been trained to do that.
Let me give you another, let me try to put it as an example. If you have a person who is trained, a bona fide real psychiatrist, they should be able to have a conversation with a character like a polite and know that something's wrong and be able to see through the bull, if that answers your question.
I mean, it does almost indirectly, but yeah, you did give me the answer. I'm gonna say what I got out of that is the answer is yes. So I think what you know whole time what I'm getting at is
I
that
think
is that
Rod.
because of that training they have even more responsibility for what they say because they're so it's almost like a boxer. like a boxer, he can't just walk around getting into fights. He's been trained, you know what I'm saying? Like he can't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like you've literally gone beyond the street fight. Like that's how I'm
But
kind of equating it. But that's,
Logic.
you know,
Yeah,
that
Let
might
me
be
ask you this.
if
Let
I
me
can
ask.
just, if I, I'm sorry, I'll just say just one last thing. So if I'm looking at a person like Dr. Umar, for example, who claims to have a degree in psychology, I believe. So he has, in my opinion, an awesome responsibility to be careful of what he's saying, who he's talking to, and all sorts of things like that. Because not only is he he's very articulate, in my opinion. And when you mix that with his so-called education that he says he has, that's kind of dangerous. And then his ability to grift. So that's like a deadly combination. When you have a slick
hmm
talker plus a degree, and then who knows what's in his background, uh, you know. So I just use
are,
him as an example of somebody who is
were you
very
describing
articulate.
Francis Cress Wilson right there, or who was you describing?
Umar.
No, I'm
Umar.
talking about
Okay.
Umar Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, I would, I
Let,
would, I
let me
would,
say this
I
too,
would definitely
Logic.
feel like all that fits the
Let me,
same training that she would have had, though.
let me say this
Yeah,
too, Logic. Like
the
if
Bunsen.
what you're saying, right? You got to figure out, okay, how do I at least determine if what I'm saying is true, right? So then, wouldn't it be that most of your influential cult leaders would be like psychologists and psychiatrists, right? That would like more validate the stands. But when you look at a lot of individuals, because there's millions of trained psychologists, psychiatrists, but most of your pseudo people are charismatic, untrained, unschooled, even that has these law following, whether it's a Malachi or so forth and so on. So I don't think it's the same.
Yeah, I'm not equating charisma to training, right? A person's charisma could be something they either born with or develop over time. And of course, when I'm talking about this particular training here, I'm saying that even me as a salesperson, right? I was able to get into information regarding sales where you start using language like speaking to a person's intention, speaking to an instinct. Like you would frame it as in more so like how do you influence a person to act, right? It would kind of sort of fall under that. Now that's not, for me, I wasn't necessarily interested in the science of it, but I definitely was interested in what they would have to say. If someone put together a program that describes how do I say things that move a person to act. So I'm saying that isn't something that's new. And I'm saying that if I can run across it as a salesperson, I just have to imagine, and I am imagining. I'm using my imagination that from the little bit I can learn about it, the vast amount of information of someone who works in the brain and also communicates. You know what I'm saying? I would figure that person is like overly trained to deliver a message. Now that doesn't mean that they have the enthusiasm or the flair of someone that you would deem as having like a big personality, but formally trained nonetheless. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you said. I'm moving through like a little area.
Hey, did you get your point off, Logic?
Yeah.
Um, I've been peeking into kind of like Sosa into some of the arguments that y'all have been making in regards to the times, right? And we kind of got into it yesterday, but I looked it up that the times argument of don't be anachronistic, pay attention to the time she grew up in. But those times, right, they cut both ways. Because if we're looking at the late 70s, 90s when the ISIS papers dropped, that's post-civil rights. But in the post-civil rights, if you look at the psychology of the time, there was a disillusionment at that time, too. And that disillusionment was, we got the civil rights, and then the gains kind of slowed up. So I looked this up to be some clarity because I was not born yet, but Gaines, it says Gaines stalled, the crack era hit, mass incarceration, Rodney King. People were looking for an explanation bigger than bad policy. A theory that framed racism as deep, total, and intentional felt truthful, but a psychiatrist would know that it'll feel more truthful than the facts and it'll hit on an emotional level. Number two, Black power, hunger for dignity narratives. Communities wanted pride, coherence, and agency. A grand story about melanin genetics and white genetic survival offered a unifying map, even to the unscientific, because they wouldn't know that the science was weak. There's only two more. Credential halo and psych expertise as rhetorical leverage. Welsing was a psychiatrist. That credential gave her epistemic authority outside of her lane, genetics and anthropology. People heard doctor and assumed cross-disciplinary expertise. A clinician is trained to read motivations, frame narratives, and persuade. I'm gonna say that again. A clinician is trained to read motivations, frame narratives, and persuade. She could make complicated social patterns feel psychologically inevitable, which is compelling. And last, there was a media ecology. Talk radio, lecture circuits, Afrocentrics at the time, VHS DVD lectures, later YouTube. High signal charisma beats slow peer review. A pseudo can scale way faster than scholarship. And these are critiques of a man named Steelman at the time. Or, well, no, not, well, it's a Steelman critique. It's not a man named Steelman. So it says, and I close, yes, the times matter, but both ways and for everybody. The same era that pushed civil rights also made us hungry for huge explanations. Welsing read the room. She had a white coat, a mic, and a message that felt like justice. But feeling true and being true are not the same. Psychiatry gives insight into minds. It doesn't turn myths into genetics. We can honor the pain she named without inheriting the pseudoscience that she preached. Zeitgeist cuts both ways, pain and pride. So, I don't know. So when y'all use the times argument, don't negate the other side of the times, where it was a right ground for her to lay these pseudo ass seeds.
Yeah, because if she was combating something because of the times, you got to give that same grace to both sides. So, like, how far are we going to say it's the times? Is the lynching and all that shit okay because it was the times? Like, what are we talking about?
Nah, y'all. And that's not.
But that's how far y'all taking it.
No, nobody said that. No, I said we're talking
I didn't
about.
say you, so I'm saying overall, like, how far does this go?
I'm saying I ain't heard nobody. So I'm saying, so the conversation is about oppression and an oppressed people versus the dominant society. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how much grace do you give the oppressed in that situation? Like, I'm not saying they got goddamn, just the ability to run amok, but you got to give them grace. Because they are the
where's the line? Where's the line for them being amok?
Hold on. Let's be clear. I give some people grace. I don't give scientists and psychiatrists grace. Like when you go to a hospital, and just because there's in our times, black women the black women don't feel pain thing, and we know that that's a real thing, even though we can't prove it per se based on death rates and stuff. We kind of can, but they're fighting that. When a doctor fucks up because the black woman been screaming that she's in pain, and he thinks she's, she can't feel pain. We don't give him grace. He's a scientist. He's a doctor. We don't give him no grace.
Concept. It's not the same thing.
No, but it's sign of the times. If he was to say
oranges and apples, not the same.
They're both fruit. When y'all say oranges and apples, I still say they're both fruit. You get no grace when you get that degree. That's why you take an oath. You take an oath not to harm. She harmed people as a scientist. That's what the oath is for. You don't. That's why you go. You don't harm. You don't get your psychiatry degree to harm people. You get it to help people. You get it to diagnose dreams, not diagnose whole races of people. That's not what her degree was for. So I
I
don't
don't
care
think she's
about
not.
Neely Fuller. He
She could
grew
make
up
it.
in illiterate. He did exactly what I
She can do
expected
that.
him to do. She
I'm
could do
saying, so
that.
you're trying to argue that it's outside of her to make a. She don't have to use genetics, but it's outside of her to have an opinion as a psychiatrist as what is it.
No. She doesn't have. You're right. She has the right to have an opinion. She doesn't have the right to have an opinion and pass it off as science to unscientific people. She has a right to her opinion. She's human. But she can't take that opinion with a white coat and a microphone and start passing it off as science as a doctor. Neely
In a
Fuller
book.
grew up illiterate. She passed
let me
off
get
an
right. So
uneducated
let me get back
person's
to
theory of science.
right. Let me get back to Grace. So what I'm saying about Grace, what is the
You're in the
Grace
matrix.
is what I'm
You're
saying.
in the matrix. Sosa, you're in the matrix. You're in the matrix.
It was clearing up at the end, though.
Do y'all give Ben Carson a pass?
I need
I
about
don't know.
5 minutes.
Adam, see the
About 5
list.
minutes.
I can hear you now, though.
Okay.
But go ahead. What do you think?
Okay, but it says do we give Ben Carson a pass? I don't know enough about
When was
Ben
he
Carson. I read the
born?
book. I don't know. I don't even
Well,
know.
but Ben
Y'all bringing
Carson
up
work
new people. I
is
don't know.
replicated. Ben Carson wrote textbooks that niggas use today in fucking heart surgery and shit. So I mean, that's not the same thing. Like, if we want to judge them by their work, then let's do
No,
that.
I'm saying Ben or Billy.
No,
Ben
I'm
or
talking about
Billy.
No,
Which
they're
one?
saying it says
He's
in
saying
the
Ben
chat.
Carson.
The question is,
Or maybe he meant Billy.
Kevin Henry. Is that two first names? Kevin, yeah, to Kevin Henry. He asked us, "Did we give Ben Carson a pass?" I don't
Did he
know,
mean
Kevin.
Billy Carson though, or did he mean Ben
No,
Carson?
I don't know if he meant Billy Carson. It says I'm just reading what he said.
Now
Do
I'm
y'all
looking at it
give
too.
Ben Carson a pass? Yeah, I don't know if he means Billy Carson. Who the hell is Billy Carson?
I definitely don't give Billy Carson a pass. He's a fucking pseudo.
The tablets and shit. Emerald tablets guy.
Oh, the final boss. Oh no, he's a
Yeah,
pseudo.
that's
He's the final
like,
boss.
he's the guy. Like, that nigga is.
Yeah, he's the final boss. I wouldn't even want to debate him.
Oh, this
He
nigga
probably-
said his wife and his kids left him because he said he experienced an alien encounter in the house and no one believed
Oh
him.
yeah. You answered your own question. Yeah, no question.
That dude is wild, bro. That's
Yeah,
a
he's off
wild
the chain.
dude.
I know. All I know is when they did the pseudo awards, I kept hearing him referred to. If this is the same guy, he got the beard. He got
he got a little goatee.
beard or whatever. Yeah, he's the final boss. Y'all start talking about him, I'm logging off because I think he got some power or something. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. All right, so I looked at just on a soft search of Ben Carson.
He's legit.
It says not exactly, but the parallel is real. It says outside of his field, he's made claims that Egyptian pyramids were grain storage, not tombs. Evolution is a myth, and misunderstanding of economic. Oh wait, this is
That's
Donald
Billy
Trump's
Carson.
Ben Carson. No, this is Ben Carson. This is the HUD guy, the black HUD guy. Oh,
But he
yeah,
wants
he's a
to-
pseudo. No, he's pseudo. He's definitely pseudo.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
He's pseudo. No. Evolution is a myth. Puts him
I didn't know he
square
said that.
into
That's a
pseudo.
little statement. But is he producing literature to create or to frame his to show his framework on why he can have that opinion? But is he pushing it? Is he extending
But
it?
if he
Like, how
says,
far?
but if he tells people evolution is a myth and presents it as science because he's a doctor in another field, that's pseudo.
No.
Yeah,
no,
no,
he
the
don't
statement
push
is
it.
pseudo.
He don't
Okay,
push
so he
that
don't
in
push
his
it.
science.
Yes, it's
Right.
not
So
going up in
that's
his
his religious. He's a Christian.
Yeah.
So religiously, he says he don't agree with evolution.
Okay,
But his science is he's the surgeon down at Johns Hopkins. The one who got famous for separating the conjoined twins from the brain.
I read his book.
He's a serious guy.
I'm
but his
familiar with him.
political
I'm
views
familiar.
And he teaches now.
Put him in charge of HUD. Trump's
He
put him
wrote
part
the
of
yeah.
HUD in his first
shit, bro.
estimate.
The shit that people are using, they using Ben Carson shit, bro, in these schools now, bro. So you can't say he was pseudo because he had religious ideas. They didn't make it into his work. That would have made it
Yeah,
pseudo.
that didn't make it into his work. You feel me?
So what about this pyramids
Hold on.
as
Is he telling
hold on, what
people?
about this
All right, man.
what is this
Hold on.
what is
Who
it
y'all
what
talking about
about
Ben
this
Carson,
theory
huh?
about the pyramids? When he says pyramids were grain storage, he said that in his commencement speech.
For HUD, not
Yeah,
not
for
to get a
HUD.
job as a surgeon.
Okay.
Yeah, because he know he can't say that again.
Exactly.
Hey, but listen, is he not telling his students though? You don't think he's telling his
No,
students his
no,
opinion on
he's
Nah,
not.
he
evolution?
not.
That would be implicated. Come on, bro.
Why would it?
Make
Why
that
would
make
it?
He
sense.
went on.
Why would a
He went
surgeon?
on live
a surgeon be
TV.
teaching
He went on the View.
history?
How
Listen,
could you
he went on.
explain the brain and the development of the brain and the different
Oh,
parts of the brain without
God, yeah.
without understanding
All right, well, look,
or
that's the
explaining it
project I think we should
evolutionary?
dive into. We should
But
dive
listen,
into
now
this.
he don't believe. But listen, he went
I'm
on
gonna
the
look it up.
View and said he could challenge. Listen, he went
He
on
taught
the View
this.
and said
He
he'll
taught
challenge
this in
anybody,
classroom.
any scientist that
Yeah.
evolution is fake. He will debate anybody on that,
No, but
and
he
he'll
taught
wash
it
it.
in classrooms. He's a pseudo. He taught this in classrooms. He's a pseudo.
Where you
Well,
at?
Carson has
I'm
repeatedly,
unaware
hold
of this.
on.
So, I mean, if that's
Carson
the
has
case, I take your
repeatedly
word.
taught evolution denial in classrooms and churches. I don't believe in evolution. It's a fairy tale that some people believe. I believe in the Bible's account of creation. He's spoken at churches, Christian colleges, his own classrooms, and interviews on TV, explicitly promoting creationism, saying and mocking evolutionary biology. If he's teaching it in the classroom, he's a pseudo. If he's just saying it on podcasts and stuff, that's different. But
When
if
you say
he's
teaching in the class, is he just expressing his views in the class, or is he saying like, "Hey, I'm going to give y'all,
the alternate information on how to counteract, the evolution. Like, I mean, that's
well,
not
I
the
don't know.
truth.
If he taught it in a classroom, that
If
would
he's
make
like, I
him
don't
pseudo.
believe that shit and kept it pushing, then that's his opinion.
Yeah, but if he's a doctor teaching his students this, that's pseudo. He's not even qualified to talk about evolution or Egyptian grain.
None of us are, but we can give our opinion. But I'm saying he's not.
But we're
making
not
it
teachers and
literature.
doctors. We're just talking
I
on
mean, I don't know how
YouTube.
far
I'm
he
not
went with it.
mistaken
I'm just
what I'm
making a
doing.
speculation right now. I don't know how far he went as far as like when you say teaching.
He's
That's
out of here. Say he's out
No,
of
I'm
here.
saying
hey
if
man, we
he
gotta throw
wait,
a being Carson. Hey, it
wait,
is what
whoa,
it
whoa,
is.
whoa,
Hey, I
whoa,
don't got no
whoa.
allegiance, bro. I don't got no master teachers like
No, but
some
I'm
of these
saying
guys.
if he taught it to students, he's doing everything she did. If that's the case, he's not
But
an
if
Yeah,
when he
I mean,
evolutionary.
espouses
I'm
He's
those
totally
not.
things,
against that.
when he espouses those things, the majority of the time,
You cut out, Corey.
There's evolution in
I
his
want to
field of
throw
work.
everybody out in the trash.
No, I'm just critiquing legacies, and I'm not gonna pick sides.
It's
If
not
he's
about.
not
I don't think we're
if
throwing
he
them
doesn't
out. I
teach
just think we're
evolution
making
and he doesn't teach if he doesn't teach
a
climate, if
clear path here.
he's not a meteorologist, he's not an evolutionary biologist, and he is not an Egyptologist. But if he's teaching it, I'm not saying talking. If he's teaching it, like if he's teaching it, then the doctor behind his name in his field, he's doing the same thing she did, if that's the case. If he's teaching it.
Yeah, but when you say teaching, it's like I have to look into as far as like, is he taking time out of his to when he's teaching brain surgery? Like, all right, guys, I want to shift topics. Let me tell you about evolution and all. It's like is he doing that to that extent, or he just expressing his opinion based on a religious belief? Like this, it can't be just that cut and dry. It's like how
No, it
far
says
is he teaching this?
no, it says he sticks to medicine in class.
As he
So
should.
there are no so no. Okay, then yeah, he doesn't teach it in class. He shares these
Yeah, that's
ideas
his
in
opinion.
other he shared these ideas as his opinion in other teaching contexts, meaning commencement speeches, guest lectures at Christian schools and churches specifically, media interview, and his opinion in books. He doesn't teach these as science. So no, he's not a pseudo.
But man, what
But I
happened to
wanna look into it though. I wanna look
disinformation is
into it.
dangerous. Missing
It
disinformation
Corey
is
got to come
It
off
dangerous.
is.
mute to do
If,
that.
he,
But
if he's shouting it on the pulpit in front of millions, what is that? He's dangerous.
I
Gotta
don't
get him
think
out
he
of here,
believed
man.
the
We
words.
gotta,
I don't
we
think
gotta
he
get Corey
believed the
back.
words.
We gotta get
I don't
Corey
think.
back.
Religion
Yeah,
ain't
I
trying to
don't
be
think you believe the
scientific.
words coming out your own mouth.
So I
And I
can't
know
call
what you're
religious.
doing.
I can't call religious pseudo because it's not trying to be science, so it doesn't really fit for me.
I think if you call the Bible Charlotte's Web, you pseudo though. I want to stay there.
Now, don't get me wrong. There is creation stories in the Bible, so that does give some sort of like account on so that I guess it does kind of fit in the box, but
Chuck Mayat is saying he's a pseudo.
Nobody ever done no experiments or nothing behind it and try to push that data. So I mean that's not the same.
Yeah, my doctor is a goddamn Pakistani and Muslim, but he ain't telling me to motherfucking make salat when my fucking blood pressure high. You feel me? Like, what are we doing here?
No. I just all I wanted to know is did he teach it? If he doesn't teach it, then I will agree. But if he's in a class teaching creationism and at a university when he's supposed to be teaching medical science, that would put him square in the target of a sniper of a pseudo.
But
if
what
he's just
university?
talking,
Ain't no university letting him do that.
But listen, he said on The View, I will debate any scientist, Nobel Peace Prize scientist, that evolution is fake,
he
made
said
up.
that.
That's a religious. That's religious gibberish.
That man, he ready to debate it.
Did anybody step up and debate him?
Yeah, that was my next question.
No, shit.
You know who he is. So you telling me Richard Dawkins and all these motherfuckers, atheist biologists that go around debating people, if they get a nigga like Ben Carson and they can debate him and whoop nigga, that's next level.
They would have did it.
I will say this though. I think it would be
Richard Dawkins
I think
and them
it would
would
be
have
very
stepped up
difficult
so
for
quick.
him to keep this separate in class. I'm opening up a file on Ben Carson. Y'all ain't got to go with me on this one. I'll do this one by myself. I'm opening up a file because for him to be that outspoken about it and to believe that he ain't taught this somewhere where he wasn't supposed to. I gotta put a microscope to Ben Carson now.
Now wait a minute.
Let's find it.
She said, "Now wait a minute."
Yeah, I can't. I gotta. As much as I'm so far. I'm not a Christian. I'm none of those things. But I can't.
I already started packing his bags. So
I can't throw him up in that suit.
Hey, listen, I'm already on the
And you have to separate people's beliefs from their science, right? So
yes.
you got to do that. So just because he
Yes.
may believe, if he believes this, I'm not sure exactly what he believes, but if he believes that
Even
Almighty
Lord
God
Jesus
created the universe, and it wasn't through no evolutionary means, then that's his belief, right?
Yes, I agree.
Then intelligent design gets surpassed it. All that scientific gibberish they spewing is based on their belief.
Let's
So based on
contact
that,
him. Contact this motherfucker.
He'll debate you, O'Shea, right now. What the hell?
So hold on.
I used to cut his hair. I don't think he live around here no more.
Hold on.
you biased.
So you're saying
biased.
Hold on. I want to get some clarity with Sister Safa. So you're saying his beliefs are pseudo, but he's not teaching this as science. So leave his beliefs alone. A person can believe what they want, even if they're a doctor.
Yeah, I believe that because there's many doctors that may be religious, right?
I agree with you.
So,
I agree with you.
You can't throw them out, and then it's a
agree.
little
I
bit
agree with
different
you on
from
that.
the intelligent design.
agree
If a
with you.
person just says, "Listen, I believe that God made us," versus a person who's trying to explain it away, how God, they're trying to explain God scientifically and all that stuff. Now that's two different things.
Yeah, I agree.
In my
I can't argue with that. No,
That's a
I
great
can't argue with that.
point.
I like the way you frame that, just so we could make sure we're not making his beliefs his science. A person could believe whatever they want. They're human. They can. If he there are people that are religious, but that doctor will immediately tell you, "I'm the one that saved you" on the operating table.
It's some characters in the chat, boy, I swear.
Yeah. Oh
Some
no, I
characters.
like them in the
I
chat.
love it, bro. I love it. I
I
didn't know
like
niggas
them.
could be so
Shout out to
fucking
Tuck,
wild.
Anathema, IBM, Kevin Henry. Y'all cooking today. ATL boy, y'all cooking today. I appreciate y'all contribution.
Yeah, they
Sister
showing up.
Safa, were your questions answered though? Or
Tell
did
him
you
to
have
join the
other ones?
server.
Yeah, join the server.
We've been telling them to join. The thing is, everybody critique, and that's
Nah,
cool.
they love
We
the
put
chat.
ourselves
The
up
chat
for it.
is-
No, they'll critique, but they will not join the server and hit the panel. They just the chat.
Yeah, let them do it in the chat,
No.
bro.
Hey, Tuck Mayat made a good point the other day. Let the chat, and I agree with them. Let them if all they want to do is in the chat and fight and this that, and the other. That's their fighting style. That's their space. I'm gonna stay out of there. I'm gonna just go in there every now and then, shout some people out. Just let the chat. Without them, there'd be no need for us to go live.
Most
I
definitely.
agree with that.
Personally.
You don't want the area to be so sterile where people aren't, going at it a little bit. That's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all go ahead. I gotta make a phone call.
Now, I had another funny comparison for you guys. Now, what about Al Sharpton versus Farrakhan in the pseudo category?
I mean, I don't really know all of Al Sharpton's views or what he's known for pushing. But I don't think Al Sharpton would be a pseudo, nor Farrakhan.
Anybody else?
Religion's kind of different. I don't, I don't yeah, I wouldn't consider either one of those people,
For sure. I think it's really geared towards people with degrees. Go ahead, Logic. I didn't really have shit to contribute, honestly.
I think when you talk about religious figures, it is a lot more difficult because what they're saying. Their intention is for it to be rooted in belief. You know what I'm saying? They're not attempting to make a scientific argument. So if you take what they're saying scientifically, that's gotta be on you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I was hoping you guys said
Farrakhan
that.
does say some kind of wild shit, though. I'm not gonna lie, but
Now, just because he's religious don't mean he can't dabble now. Because if he's religious, he could make some crazy assertions about science that definitely make him pseudo. So like when you say the NOI with their anti-vax stance, right? You might have to put them in the category of being pseudo because now they don't went beyond what they supposed to be. They claim to have scientific knowledge. So
good point.
Yeah, no, they
Good point,
they can take a dive in the pool every now and again when they see it combats their religious beliefs, but they're not pushing their beliefs as science. So I can't really, classify all the
Farrakhan
way.
is definitely a pseudo, bro. I'm listening. He's not just religious. He's the leader of the Nation of Islam. This is a guy. He's an anti-vaxxer. The Yaqub, the alien UFOs.
I forgot about the Yaqub shit.
The beans and the whole milk and all of that. Come on, bro. Pseudo.
Right, but
Yeah,
this is the
pseudo.
thing. I think he's more of a grifter and a scammer.
Passing it off as science, though.
And this is why I say this. Now, let me run this down. Give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right? Now, check this out. Now, Farrakhan. I done heard Farrakhan, right, in a regular masjid right, without speaking as a regular imam, without using no Nation of Islam rhetoric. None of that bullshit. Yo, you would have thought the nigga came straight out of Mecca. You feel me? In front of an international crowd of Muslims, he was able to, you know what I mean? You would have thought he was just a regular old Muslim. So he's able to do that. Farrakhan, when he had cancer, he didn't practice none of that crazy shit. He went to a regular Jewish doctor and got surgery and chemotherapy. You dig what I'm saying? So all of this, you know what I mean? Like you gotta realize that he could be doing this shit. And when the Nation of Islam was disbanded, is y'all still here?
You told us to
When
give
the
a minute. Go ahead and cook up.
right. When the Nation of Islam was disbanded after Elijah Muhammad died, Elijah Muhammad's son, Wharf Deen Muhammad, took over the Nation of Islam and disbanded it and moved them all to Sunni Islam. It wasn't until the 1980s that and Farrakhan followed Wharf Deen Muhammad and became an Orthodox imam, right? And he did this up until like 1982. And I think around 1981, 1982, he said he's leaving Wharf Deen Muhammad and he's starting back up Elijah Muhammad's program of the Nation of Islam. You dig what I'm saying? So I think, and he did it because he wanted. I feel as though now this is my own shit right here that
Your
he
own
wanted.
biases.
Yeah, he wanted the
Okay.
fame and glitz of the Nation of Islam back. So that's why he brought that rhetoric back with Yaqub and all of that, because that shit was disbanded. You dig what I'm saying? So he
Okay,
know
stay right
he
there,
know the
Chef.
real.
Don't go on mute. Stay right there.
Go ahead.
So you said something that was troubling, so I looked it up. Navy beans cure disease. Farrakhan repeated that Navy beans can prevent and cure cancer. And I quote in 2013 at Savior's Day in front of people. So whatever
Yeah.
you said
Yeah, that's
privately
true
to
though.
you, he got on stage. He said he was a cool dude and whatever to you. Got on stage 2013 on Savior's Day and said, and I quote, "The Navy bean will heal you of what ails you. They told me I was dying of cancer, but I started eating Navy beans the way the messenger taught, and that's why I'm here today."
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
pseudo.
that's true
He's
though.
scamming. No, that's not.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
No. Let me finish.
Hold on a
Let me
second.
finish, bro.
He
Let me
ain't
finish.
produced no scientific work.
Let me
So
Hold
finish.
it
Let
don't
me finish,
matter.
bro.
That's
One
not
meal
I
a
pseudo.
want
day.
He's
next. I want
scamming.
next.
That man lying.
Hold on.
He went to
One
the
meal a
doctor.
day. If you eat 1 meal a day, your body will be able to resist cancer, and you won't need their poisons. Listen, this is even worse. Farrakhan has said, and I quote, "Doctors don't want Black people to live long, and that the medical system hides cures. Be careful with these doctors. They're quick to cut and poison us, but slow to tell us the natural cures.
Until I need them.
Divine
Why
protectors."
are you reading this?
Hold on.
Come
No,
on.
because
Let's not
no.
forget.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish because he's pseudo. Because that sounds a lot like Dr. Sabi, who we all know is pseudo. All know pseudo. We all know he is, bro.
But didn't our professor say that he's scamming because he actually goes to the doctors? That the doctors actually is the ones who cured them of his cancer? So we don't give a fuck what he got up there and lied about Navy things. We know he's lying. He went to the doctors.
But he doesn't acknowledge it to his but he doesn't acknowledge that to his followers as the reason
So
he
he's
survived.
scamming.
He told his
That's a
followers
scammer.
that it was Navy beans.
So that's scamming.
That's pseudo.
Bro,
It's a
that's
sham.
scamming.
Bro, if somebody had cancer
still
and ate
falling asleep.
Navy beans because Farrakhan,
He
their
does still
thought
fall
leader,
under
told
it,
him
though.
to,
Corey, where my brother
However,
Corey at with missing
man,
disinformation?
hey, Corey,
Corey,
Chef,
I need my brother Corey right now.
Do you think
that's
I need
pseudo.
my brother Corey to
that
miss
scamming is?
disinformation.
Hold on. Do you think I think that scamming and being a grifter is less dangerous as being a pseudo? Do you think I'm trying to mitigate him?
No, I
Then
didn't say that.
like
No, I didn't say that.
he can be
No, I
all
didn't
of
say
these things. I'm
I
saying
didn't
the
say
saying
that.
I
category
say he's
is
both.
slamming.
I'm
I'm saying
saying
he's
he's
both.
on
Now,
both
is there a
because
difference?
he's a leader of the Nation of Islam and he has followers who will take his word as law. His
I
word,
think a
not
pseudo
Allah's
believes.
word, not the
I think a
Quran.
pseudo
Just
believes
his
that shit.
word.
I think a pseudo
Huh?
believes that shit. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
That's how you do
I
it.
think a
See, we got different
I think a
definitions. I don't do it like
Yeah,
that.
no, this is
I
biased.
think a pseudo
I found this
believes
under
what they're
bias.
putting forth.
You gotta believe
I
it to be
found this as
pseudo.
bias.
Hold
No,
on, but nah, earlier y'all was saying that this
Kinda.
is Francis Welston belief. So how does that not fall? Like that doesn't
Because
make
she
any
passed,
sense.
because
I
she
said
was a
she was
scientist.
scamming.
She was a
I said
scientist
she
who
was
passed
scamming.
off her
Yes, and y'all was
opinion
saying
as
it's her
science.
belief, and I'm saying that
No,
this
no,
nigga.
no. I didn't say. No, I didn't say that. I said she's a scientist that passed off her beliefs as science. That's
Okay, but
So
simple.
not
let me
you.
say
But
this.
you're not the only person that spoke. But other people said that she was scamming. Right? She was a scammer.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
sold a book.
You didn't
for
believe
sure.
it.
so let me say this. That you could I think that you can push pseudo ideas as a scammer, right? So what I'm saying is you don't
That does sound
necessarily
right.
have to believe it to push and profit off of it. You feel me? Now we know he don't believe it because he went to the doctors for his fucking cancer.
Yeah, we don't. But he
Yeah,
frames
but I
his
still.
beliefs and
Yeah,
his
I think.
followers
Yeah,
as science, though.
yeah.
If you say Navy Bean is a cure, you're framing your personal beliefs to your followers
That's
as
not his
science.
belief.
You don't believe it
That's
because he
not
Wait a
his
went to
minute.
the
Wait a
belief.
fucking
minute.
doctor.
Now,
He
Hold on,
said it.
let's
What do you mean he
hold
don't
on. Let her get
believe
in there.
it?
Let
He
Saba
said
get in
it.
there. Let her get in there. Let her get in. Go ahead,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir.
now I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Now we said earlier that a person's beliefs does not make them pseudo. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if it is in the nation, the teachings that God said to eat these navy beans and all this stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
nobody is promoting that science says this. Their belief is that God told them this.
God
So
didn't say that.
is that still pseudo?
God didn't say the Navy
Yes.
beans. No, he
Yes.
didn't. Elijah Muhammad said Navy beans.
But
Not
Yeah,
Elijah
and he
Muhammad is
said,
the
Yeah,
hold
he's
on,
messenger
from
of
hold on
God.
a
God. He's the
second,
Yeah, you gotta
messenger of
hold on,
God.
understand.
because I
Yeah, you
hold
gotta
on.
understand, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's their teachings that Elijah Muhammad was taught by God, and
No,
God
he was
taught them
taught
all
by
this stuff.
Fard Muhammad, a white man.
That's
Yeah,
Hold
God.
on,
He said
hold
it's
on,
I'm
hold on,
God.
hold
very
on. You're
familiar with
missing.
this.
That's God in their
You're
theology.
missing.
yeah, that's God.
So
He's
they
Yeah, that's
God.
part of their theology.
think Fard Muhammad is the
Yes,
actual Muhammad.
yes,
Yeah,
So
he's
they
yes.
think that
God
he's
in the
Oh, them
Allah.
niggas,
flesh.
They think
He's
he's
Allah.
God.
crazy.
Yeah,
Them
that's their
niggas is crazy.
religion. But that's their religion. You gotta give them a pass. 'Cause that's
So,
what they
and
do.
let me say one more thing too about the jab. So even
Fresh,
with
like
the
what's this up?
jab, they didn't say nothing about no scientists or nothing. He said that God told him to tell people not to take the jab. So now what is the difference now? So is he pseudo or is he scamming or is he both?
I'm staying on these
Or it's
pseudo.
a
Yeah,
religion.
we can have different opinions. He's
So
pseudo
now
and
religion.
scamming.
So even if you're not, see, I love this shit. I'm
Ain't
people to get
nobody
everybody
saying that
thrown
the
out.
nigga good. So let's just put that on the table.
So
Yeah.
We're
so
arguing
religion.
over whether pseudo scammer. We're saying that he's a
In
fucked up
the
Nah,
Nation of Islam,
I like this
Master
because
Fard
first y'all
Muhammad
saying
is
like
considered God
we
in
got.
person.
But listen, Ben Carson got a pass for spewing shit because we said, well, even though he
What
espoused
did
and made the
Fard
people that's
What
his
do you
Muhammad
got a
say,
religion.
man?
pass? I'm saying I need more clarity
Nah,
on what
you can't
Carson
say
is
you gave him
doing.
a pass. I saw you gave him a card.
I,
You
Nah,
I
know,
gave
you
I
are.
him
like
a
Yo,
pass.
Brad,
I
you
gave
Brad
him
supposed
a
to
said,
you
pass.
supposed yeah, he's supposed to bang it with his mouth. I like I said, I like that. I don't know how I see what it's but listen. Where we at
Religious
now?
people supposed to get a pass though.
Okay, then
Like
then
we
okay.
know.
Then we gotta give the intelligent design community a pass, bro.
Yo, my
We can't beef with
grandmother
them.
go to the doctor. She still believe in
yeah,
Jesus.
still
You
good.
feel me?
Good.
She still thinks
You
she
put
go
me
to
on
the
mute.
doctor. She take her medicine,
I
but
get
she
it.
still think Jesus. She still will say Jesus
Right.
heals her,
Because right,
even though
but
we know
now
she go to her doctor's appointments
yeah,
and she take her medicine. But
I
she
get it, but
claims that Jesus heals her. So how do
Jesus
we
sent
deal
that
with that,
doctor.
Joseph?
yeah, now, but if you're a
So
Jehovah's
is it
Witness and you're not going to allow blood transfusion and shit like that, because that shit is written sometime in your scripture.
That's something else. Deal with my grandmother going to the doctor, taking the
I don't
medicine,
want.
and
I ain't trying
still
to bang on
saying
grandma.
Jesus healed her.
I ain't trying to bang on
Well,
grandma
their
chef.
grandmother has her
No,
beliefs,
bang
Can
but
y'all
on
they
hear
Jesus.
me?
also have insurance. She has her beliefs, and then the doctor is her insurance. That's how that's working.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I can't hear y'all in my headphones. Go ahead.
Human beings are complex. That's we can say that.
Very, very complex. Very, very complex.
That's why we got to draw these lines where we got to draw them. It's like we got to
That's why
put
it's
them in the
hard to.
right boxes.
Nah, that's why it's hard to draw these rigid lines because you gonna have
That's
folks
right.
that gonna fall in the middle and they leg gonna be over here and their head gonna be over
Right.
here.
Right,
We're trying
but
to figure out where
I'm not telling nobody to fuck with Farrakhan. And I'm not giving yo no pass.
Hold on.
It
You
seems like
think I'm telling?
it's somehow y'all gonna give
No.
5,000 a pass. I'm saying don't fuck
Nah,
with
nah,
none of
nah.
them, whether they
I'm not telling.
pseudo or whatever. I'm saying we
All right,
shouldn't fuck with
all right, for clarity, I'm not telling people to go support Fred Press Wells.
them. Okay.
That's not, that was never a thing. I'm
Okay.
just saying. I was just saying, like, when we look back at her and what she was saying, like, can we see if something drove her to have these types of ideas, right? Because everybody was saying she's scamming. I remember I was like, nah, she believed that shit. I was like, that ain't a scam. Like, how can she's an MD? Black Panther. They were pushing it. That was my argument. Like, she actually believed what she was spewing. Remember Corey was like, she ain't said it in front of white folks. I was like, yes, she did. I'm like, she lost her job. Like, she wasn't playing. That was always my argument. That was always my
She was a
argument.
nut.
Yeah, I didn't even realize she was on Donahue.
He said,
Like, she was like,
he said,
yeah,
y'all white people crazy and y'all lack of melanin, then fuck y'all up genetically. That's your problem.
Where do you?
she said on live on TV to
Sosa,
an all white audience. Like, she wasn't
hey,
playing.
Sosa, do you promote John Henry Clark?
Promote. I support him. Like,
Like, do you
I don't
promote and say he wasn't pseudo?
No, I mean, no. Did he get some things wrong? Yes, but I don't think.
Yeah, I
he
don't
got
think
some
Dr.
things-
Clark's.
He got some stuff right. Yeah, he's not pseudo. He got some. That doesn't mean he didn't get anything wrong. He's not pseudo.
How do you feel about him writing that foreword?
Yeah, he just
Just an
got
honest
something
answer.
wrong.
I'm not a gotcha moment. I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
he
Yeah,
just got,
it's not a good
he just
look.
got that wrong. Yeah, he just got that wrong. Mhm.
Okay. Logic, why'd you mute me and deafen me at the same time? Is that a mistake?
No,
Okay.
he meant
That's why I
that shit.
couldn't
That
hear.
came from his
Logic
heart.
over there fucking with me.
He believed that shit. He
Logic, don't make
believed
me
My phone been in my pocket, so I ain't touched
yeah,
it.
there you go. Well, I just checked the audit log and it said you muted and deafened me at the same time. I'm in this bitch yelling like a banshee thinking I'm stupid. So please believe you got some get back coming.
Oh yeah, this sound like a little weird
Yeah,
symbol over there by your stuff.
yeah, because he muted and deafened me. But I'm gonna get him. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because it was there when you was talking. That's why it was weird. I was like,
I know he did it. I know what he's doing. Slick ass. You got him. And Farrakhan
yeah.
still and the funny thing is, as soon as I started saying Farrakhan was pseudo, Fard Muhammad muted and deafened me. So, and I didn't know that they thought Fard Muhammad was I didn't know that Fard Muhammad they thought of him as God.
Yeah,
I didn't know
Brad, it's
that.
too much. Yeah, you got it's too much.
That's kind of crazy. If they thought of Fard Muhammad as God, wasn't he white? No, don't use a parallel. I'm trying to learn something because I got two Muslims in here. No, it's two Muslims in here that can answer the question. Was Fard Muhammad a white man? She was. With Nation of Islam. Yeah, I don't respect their religion. That might be some Charlotte's Web stuff. I don't want to do that.
Making sure you got the actual facts when you're talking. That's all.
Okay, so Chef, was Fard Muhammad a white man? All right. So
Yeah.
chat was Fard Muhammad was Fard Muhammad a white man? I'm just to the chat. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking some chat.
No, anybody, because if their God was a
I
white
say it
man,
was. Show that it was. The man
Okay,
wife
I don't
came
know.
forward to
I don't
collect the
know what he
money.
was because I never met him. But I can tell you what the theology is. I can tell you what they believe in the nation. I can tell you that.
no, I don't want to get into the theology. I want to know the fact. Just
Yeah, I
literally.
don't know.
So
I never
there's
met him, so I don't know.
yeah, it's not like I think Chef in the Matrix. It's still conflicting report. I think if you look in the wiki, it's going to say, you know, what I mean, he was white and they have who his parents was, but you know, how it is, there's disputes and such. But
And the man
for
wife
me,
came
for
forward to
me,
Chuck
collect the money.
Mayat said he had a comb over. Y'all
for
disrespectful,
me,
bro.
He
for
did have a
me,
come
though,
on.
I got
His
He
shit
did.
was fried, died, and laid to the
Yes.
side. I ain't gonna lie.
Man,
But if he
listen,
was
bro. The
white, it
man
wouldn't have
wife
to be
came
fried.
forward to collect the money that Farrakhan put up, saying if somebody can prove that the nigga white, and the man wife came forward. Unless the FBI
did she
lied
get the
about
money?
that,
Did she get the money?
I don't think the
Yeah,
offer was ever real.
I was gonna say because I never heard about that. That
Well,
anybody
that was in
collected any
that
money
FBI
anyway.
file. Yeah, I don't think nobody collected it.
Nah, his birth origins all wild.
Let's get in it. It is.
Elijah Muhammad came forward and said in Harper's magazine in the 1960s and said he would give money to anybody with proof that Fraud Muhammad was white. And his wife, common law wife, came forward with their marriage certificate, right? That had his race on it, and their son's death certificate from the Navy. Their son died in the Navy during World War II. And in the Navy, they had his race, he was white, they had the parents, you know what I mean? Both of them was white. So, you know what I mean? Well, what do we
She
do
wanted
with
that,
that?
honey.
And
She wanted that.
the FBI had his fingerprints, right? They had
Yep.
his
And it
mugshots and
matched
his
it in
fingerprints,
jail.
and it matched to the T. What are we supposed to do
Yep.
with that?
He was in San Quentin. He was in San Quentin.
Wallace. They said the arrest
Ford.
records make his name Wallace Ford.
Mm-hmm. We went over this.
So
So
I'm
yeah,
a little bit older than you. I'm a little bit older than you, Brass. So check this out. Back in the mid '90s, you could get locked up, right? And they didn't have all this sophisticated computer systems, this, that, and the
good
third.
old days.
You
The
could
good old days.
actually give an alias, right? Yeah, you could actually give an alias and try to
And
get out
bond out.
before your records came back. You
Yeah,
get what I'm
yeah.
saying? So now
Yeah.
imagine 1920, right? If I could get away with this shit in 1995, imagine how slow that shit was in 1920.
Yeah, he had so many aliases.
Yeah, niggas had 10 different aliases. Come on, yo.
Hell yeah, motherfuckers had some what?
But you said you did a show, so where did you end up with? Did you end up with him as a white man?
Yes.
Yes.
So why didn't they say that white people was grafted and all of that stuff?
Yeah, the white man was the devil.
Yeah, devil.
That's the crazy part about the
They used
Nation
to
of
hide.
Islam.
They used to hide the pictures of Wallace Fard in the fucking mosques and shit.
Yeah,
Nigga, they wouldn't let nobody see them shits.
Nah,
The man looked white as hell. They used to hide the goddamn photo.
I think the best. I think
that
the best evidence says that he was some kind of mulatto from around
Yeah,
Louisiana.
they said it was a
nigga
white
from New Zealand or
it as
something,
a white
nigga.
passing man. That's what it says. They
Yeah,
said that he could
that's
be
the
a
best
very
evidence.
light skinned man.
Matter of
with
fact,
straight hair
remember when
or
they came to one of their little meetings. I think they had like sacrificed somebody or something, and the
Yeah, they
police
killed the
walked
nigga.
up.
That's why he got
Yeah,
locked up.
and they walked right past Fard Muhammad because they didn't think they
Because they thought he was the
coming for
landlord.
white. Yeah, they thought he was coming
Yeah.
for some black folks, and he the leader. They walked right past him.
Oh,
Like,
we walked by him, thought he was the landlord of the building.
yeah, we thought he was the fucking
Hey,
the
they
super.
saying he was born in Oregon in the 1800s. That sounds like a white man, but I'm gonna leave that be.
Just
Just
you can
out
find
of
all
respect.
kinds of accounts. Even one he was Pakistani. There's all type of little shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Pakistani.
There's
I
all
heard
type
from New
of
Zealand. I heard
New
all
Zealand
type of
type
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
Hey, also to the chat,
But
real
all of
quick.
them still lead to the road of being white.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out. All y'all
No
lead
matter
either
what
way.
story you got.
Instead, I was thinking the same thing. All
No
these
matter what
stories
story.
basically make him European. So I was trying to figure out where the defense for him being some
Yeah.
other than that. But no, hey, real quick, public service announcement. We got a fantasy football league going. You gotta join. Well, you don't got. Yeah, you gotta join the Discord. But we got a fantasy football league going. 3 slots left. And you get the information in the Discord. I don't know if y'all like fantasy. I mean, we don't always tear down our Afrocentric leaders. We also talk about football from time to time. So if you want to join the fantasy football league, jump in the Discord, hit the link and sign up.
And if we get
it's
down
a
to like the
12 it's a
last spot, I can
12-team
sponsor somebody too for that
Well, we're
spot.
gonna need it. And Sosa, you might have to not just do Corey's. We actually need it because we got
I
3
need
or 4
something. If they
slots
win,
left.
I need something.
Yeah, we got 3 or 4 slots
Wait
left
till
in
we'll
a
see.
12-team league. So I'm giving
Yeah,
it
wait
till
till
Sunday. We at 9 right. We at 8 right now.
yeah.
We
4
need
more.
4 more teams. So the registration locks Sunday, but it's fantasy football for the guys and gals who participate in that. It's an upboard league. It's an ESPN 12-team points per reception league. So it's about as official as it gets. And then the winner gets a freight tanker from Ohio that you can move into as a house. That's what the winner gets.
You gotta drop the link in the Discord. Drop the link in the.
I can't because it's joined.
Tuck said he won't in.
Or Tuck, join the Discord real quick.
I thought he said he was in the Discord.
You were in Tuck.
He's in this Discord or not?
I don't know. Join the Discord if you're not. Whoever know him, send them the link. But I can't put that up because they'll just raid the what's the name? And everybody who paid already, go in there and create your team, so I know exactly how many teams is locked in. And we got a raffle up with Jossie's team.
I did one for Corey yet, Brad.
I know, bro. I know.
Ain't right there.
But yeah, Sister Safa, I hope this was you realized. I hope that you realize that we're not just tearing people down.
Takes.
We're actually using some form of a method. It's not just randomly calling people pseudo. But I will say this. I think it's telling that Neely Fuller and Leonard Jeffries led her to. That was the origin of it. One autodidact.
How did Leonard Jeffries get caught up in this? I missed that part.
I don't know. Yeah, he's next, bro. He on the list. I don't know if y'all want to do it now.
But I'm saying, how was he influential to Francis Cress Wells? I missed all that.
That's where that theory. That's where some of that theory comes from. I thought Sadiq wanted to be down, but I'm not sure. But I know every time I look up that theory.
Damn, not my boy Leonard.
Fuller
Leonard, nah, we can't do Leonard, bro.
You'll see. I was about to ask you, how familiar are you with what Leonard said? Because that's a big piece right there.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, y'all going too far. You're going too far.
Not if we're even getting a response like that, that means we're on the right track.
Yeah, that means
when
y'all say that makes me really want to look into it now. Because
he credentialed too, so we got to look into him. So we got to see, like, did he know better? Is he? You know what I'm saying?
And if you had a racist friend too. You got a racist friend, or autograph they jersey. Yeah, that did.
Here we go. Hey, you know what?
The next two names.
I'm moving on to Dr. Leonard Jeffries right now.
So the next two names gotta be Wade Nobles and Leonard Jeffries. Those
I know, and he found an ASCAC scamming.
Wade Nobles. So, what about we gonna
hold on. Let's do one studio at a time. Is he? Oh wait! Whoa!
I mean, y'all definitely gonna kick out Leonard Jeffries. Y'all definitely gonna say
why? Tell us what you know.
I'm about to say because he was on that
anytime you say.
Right?
I mean, he's been accused of anti-Semitism. Like, he's been around for a while.
Get your hot beef in the Pepsi. What they do in Chicago? What is it, Italian beef and Pepsi?
Italian beef and Pepsi.
Go to snitch. Give us the information.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I don't know too much other than I know that he is at the head of all of the tables that you're talking about. He sits on the board of ASCAC. He like one of the biggest, like one of the biggest Afrocentrics of the century. That's top notch. I know that he is like up the top of the food chain of the people that we're talking about.
Is he
And
the final
also,
boss?
Can we not use?
of Afrocentrics.
Hold on, listen to Safa.
Hold on, let the
Hold on.
sister
Show
speak.
some,
Go
wait,
ahead.
show some
What you
respect.
wanted to say?
Yes, Safa, go ahead.